You know, some stories aren't really written in books. They're written on maps. They're tales of neighbors who are bound together by geography, their futures tangled up by forces that are way beyond their control. This is one of those stories, the fateful and honestly the unavoidable bond between Europe and the Middle East. It's a story of cooperation and of conflict. Those two threads are just woven through the history of Europe and the Middle East. They're like two chapters in the same book, sharing a destiny that means you just can't understand one region's story without understanding the others.
So, where does this whole story really begin? Well, it starts with a simple, unchangeable fact: geography. That sea between them, the Mediterranean, it's not a barrier. It's actually a bridge, a channel that's connected these two worlds for thousands of years, making them permanent, absolutely inseparable neighbors.
And this is where things get really complicated. This is the core paradox of the whole relationship. They're close enough to practically touch, but politically, culturally, and when it comes to stability, well, they can feel like they're on different planets. This tension, this huge gap between being so close on the map, but so far apart in reality, is the source of pretty much every single challenge we're about to talk about.
So for European leaders, this is the tightrope they have to walk every single day. Every decision they make is a pull between three really powerful and often competing forces: the economic need for the Middle East resources, the moral pull of humanitarian values, and of course, the fundamental duty to protect their own national security. And as you can probably guess, getting those three to point in the same direction, it's next to impossible.
So let's dive into the first and maybe the most critical piece of this bond: energy. We're talking about the fuel that powers European industry, that heats homes, that literally keeps the entire continent moving, and a huge chunk of it flows from one particular direction.
Just look at this. This chart tells a really stark story. I mean, despite years and years of talk about diversifying their energy sources, that huge slice of the pie shows you just how deeply Europe still relies on the Middle East for its energy. And that's not just a number on a chart, that's a measure of some serious vulnerability.
Think of it like this: it's a vital artery, pumping the lifeblood into the European economy. But the thing is, this artery is incredibly exposed. We saw it recently with the crisis in the Red Sea, forcing ships to take massive detours. Any disruption, any instability at all, and the pressure in that artery starts to drop fast.
It's a pretty chilling question, isn't it? What happens if it's cut? The consequences of a serious disruption would just ripple through every single aspect of European life. The stakes? Well, they really couldn't be any higher.
Okay, so from the flow of energy, we now have to turn to the flow of people, because when instability rocks the Middle East, the aftershocks are felt almost immediately on European shores, and that creates a profound human challenge.
The scale of this is just staggering. This isn't a trickle we're talking about. It's a historic movement of people, all fleeing conflict and despair. Millions have made incredibly dangerous journeys, all in search of safety and a future.
But behind that massive number lies an individual person, a human story. For Europe, sure, it becomes a crisis of logistics and politics. It strains resources, it fuels political division, but we can never ever forget that at its heart, this is a tragedy of people.
The third consequence of this intertwined fate is security. You see, conflict doesn't really respect borders. The fires of war burning in the Middle East can, and they absolutely do, cast very dangerous sparks right into the heart of Europe.
And these threats are direct, and they come in different forms. You've got the terrifying specter of terrorism, you've got the huge challenge of citizens returning home after fighting for extremist groups, and then there's the silent poison of online radicalization, spreading quietly through social media. All of it demands constant, unwavering vigilance.
It's almost like an invisible web. The strands are so complex, and they're often hidden, but they connect a distant conflict zone directly to the streets of a European city. It's this exact connection that turns regional instability into a direct domestic threat.
So, with its energy supply, its social fabric, and its very security on the line, how does Europe respond to all this? This question gets to the absolute core of its modern dilemma.
Europe, of course, has a toolbox for foreign policy. It can try to mediate peace talks and it can provide aid, but its effectiveness there is often constrained by the realities of regional politics. It can impose sanctions, but their power is often limited because of disunity within Europe itself. The tools are there, but they're just not always sharp enough for the job.
But recently, a new path seemed to open up: the Abraham Accords.
These were landmark agreements that normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations, and they offered a potential breakthrough. Now, Europe wasn't directly involved, but you can bet they were watching very closely, hoping that this might signal a real shift towards stability in the broader region.
So, at the end of the day, Europe really finds itself at a crossroads. It has a choice to make. It can continue down its current path, basically acting as a reactive bystander, just dealing with crises as they pop up. Or it can choose a totally different role, to become a proactive player, to finally forge a coherent strategy to shape events instead of just being shaped by them.
And so, that's the final defining question, isn't it? In this epic, unfolding story of two neighbors bound together by one destiny, what role will Europe choose to play? Its future and the stability of its entire neighborhood really does hang in the balance.
At Geotectonics, our mission is to uncover these profound tectonic shifts, offering clarity in a world of complexity. If this analysis deepened your understanding, please like this video to support our work, share it with others who seek real insight, and subscribe to Geotectonics to ensure you never miss our next deep dive. We'll continue to explore the crucial geopolitical movements that define our time. Thank you for joining us.